Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel Sarian's Review. I'm Sarian and today we are going to learn to understand, go deeper, explore about another country, great other country, Southeast Asian country, that is Laos. So let's get started. Daily and social custom. Most families in Laos are involved in farming. Members of households work the land together with a division of labor by gender. In West rice cultivations, men plow and prepare for the seedbed, control water flow to the fields, and shreds the crop. Women transplant seedling, weed the fields and carry these sheaves of rice to the threshing place. In uplands rice cultivations, men cut and clear the sweetens. Women do the sowing of sweeting, while rice cultivation begin with the onset of the rain in April, May, or end of the harvest in October or November. In upland area, fields are burned and cleared at the end of the dry season in February and March. And harvesting takes place in November. Cultivations of secondary crops is interspersed with rice cultivation. Gardening on a riverbank, for example, follow the drop in water level at the end of the dry season. In addition to the strictly agricultural activities, the daily lives of rural people involve a number of other tasks such as fetching water from wells, hunting for game, and gathering various forest products. Common forest products include small game, birds and eggs, fruits, honey, spice, medicines, resins, lattices, dyes, and wood for fuel and for making charcoal, as well as structural materials such as rattan, bamboo, wooden poles, and various fibers. The important tasks of gathering and processing the forest products are associated with women. The ethnic Lao ritual in the Basi, in which strings are tied around this person's wrist to preserve good luck, had indeed been elevated in Laos to place as national custom. The basics is associated with the transitions, namely giving birth, getting married, entering a monkhood, going away, returning, beginning a new year, and welcoming a biting farewell to foreign guests. The practice has retained an important place in state ceremonies of all kinds. A prominent ritual among the upland Hmong is the sacrifice of the chicken or pig to the household spirit of the new year. The Laotian government observes a number of holidays that are generally secular in nature. Among these are New Year's Day, generally 1st, Pathet Laos Day, generally 6th, Lao New Year, April 13 to 15, Liberation Day, August 23, Freedom from the French Day, October 12, and the National Day, December 2. The 3-day Laos New Year celebration in Luang Prabang takes place in much pomp and color. A central feature of this festivity is the parading of the holy relic and palladium of the former kingdom from the royal palace music to the Wat Mei temple. For holidays celebrated by particular ethnic groups, leave are usually granted to those concerned, most of whom work in the capital of urban area, and traditions holiday of the lowland rural regions revolve around the Buddhist temples and the agriculture cycle. These calendars operate beyond the reach of the states. Next, the arts of Laos. The visual, dramatic, musical, and literary arts of Lao draw primarily from religious to local tradition sources. However, in contemporary times, many towns, especially those along from the Mekong River, have been exposed to other cultures and traditions, largely through Thai mass media in the South. Khmer influences on the peoples of Laos are strong. In the North Myanmar, and Thai influences are readily apparent. As elsewhere in Southeast Asia, religious symbol, story, and theme have been modified and localized. The snake, for example, representations of which adorn religious and royal buildings symbolize the benevolent spirits of the water and the protector of the king. Theravada Buddhism and Hinduism have been major influence on the cultural and intellectual lives of Laos. The story of the Buddha and Hindu myth are the subject of the carving and the sculpture found in all religious places. Dance dramas similarly have drawn many of their themes from ancient Indian epics, such as the Ramayana, and they have religious significance, such as dramatic performances have historically marked religious separation. An important holiday, the Laos have a variety of religions and rural art form, including weaving, basket making, wood, ivory, carving, silverwork, and goldwork. There is a number of musical instruments that are characteristic of the rural Laos, as well as the midland and upland minority communities. The most widely known as such instruments is Kane, the wood and bamboo mouth organ, that are used by various rural people. Other instruments include assorted flutes, plucked and bow flutes, drums, and cymbals. The country also has the wealth of regional local music traditions, most of which are designated by some form of the term cap and lamb. Performance of such vocal music often takes the form of spirits battle of knowledge, wit and artistry between the sexes. Most music is not written down, but is transmitted through oral tradition. Prior to 1975, Laos had a viable tradition of classical court music that was similar in sound and structure to style associated with the royal courts and neighboring. Thais and Cambodia instrument of Laos classical ensemble were generally distinct from, though, a rural and regional tradition. Among the most prominent melodic instruments of the classical ensemble were tuned circular sets of gongs, xylophones, and a quadruple reed wind instrument. Following the establishment of the LPDR, classical music and its practitioners were considered to be antithetical to ideals of a new communist regime. The royal musician and dancer from Luang Prabang emigrates as refugees and moved to the United States, where they were resettled as they grew up in Nashville. Tian, those who were in the Tassine school near Vientiane, similarly were sent to Des Moines, Loa. Those who remained in Laos retreated to Laotian countryside. Only seen in the late 20th century has this classical music traditions begun to resurface as a positive emblem of Laos identity. Regular performance have been restated by local musicians at the Royal Palace Museum in the Luang Prabang. Laotian literature is predominantly religious and is linked to the Buddhist traditions. There is also a literary stream that, while secular, is based on theme of the Hindu epic poems. An example of these is Laotian epic Asinsei, written between the mid-16th and the late 17th century. And the most popular poems and songs are often satiric.